Hello and welcome to yet another episode of The Teacher's Table where education's voices meet. My name is Ntati Michelle Musi, as you all know. Today we are going to discuss a topic that moved from a nice to have thing to an essential part of our education today. That is coding and robotics, right? Technology has moved from being a tool to now being a part of our daily lives, which is becoming a need. And today I am sitting with someone who has a very strong hand within the education space regarding coding and robotics. And he'll be answering questions such as, what exactly is coding and robotics? Why should children learn these skills? This is for the basic education for parents and teachers out there who are interested in finding and doing more within the codings and robotics field. Thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Dr. Molaodi. Sorry. Thank you so much. I just want to first say congratulations again on the attainment of your PhD. Seeing teachers move from just being classroom teachers and, moving and taking up spaces in their niche especially, it is very inspiring.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Before we move, can I have your background? How did your teaching first start?
I taught in Limpopo for about 5 years. I was teaching physics and chemistry in high school. And then during my process of teaching, I noticed that, especially in the rural areas, my children had inferiority complex. And it was very difficult. I remember when I told them that I was expecting a minimum of 60%, they laughed at me. And there was a child called Motlajo. And then the learner said, ask Motlajo what was her highest since she did grade 10. And Motlajo said 48, I think, if not mistaken. And I noticed that we are going to have a problem because Motlajo was the highest performer. And then I started an NPO to help children in the rural areas with career guidance and boost their confidence and also uplift their understanding of sciences. And I also helped teachers to include ICT, information and communications technologies, into teaching. And as a result, I was one of the chairpersons of the science committee in our cluster to help teachers improve. And I developed passion from there. And then I also developed passion of training teachers than teaching learners. That's how I moved into higher education.
And, as a physics and chemistry teacher, how do you then develop this love of technology, IT? How does it fit now? Where does it come from?
Okay, so in physics and chemistry, when you teach in rural areas, there's a lack of resources. And one needs to improvise. Then I started introducing the concept of shoestring science, meaning you take whatever you have to make it work. So that's about improvisation. If we're going to, if we have an experiment about alcohol or organic chemistry, how can we perform the experiment without exclusive scientific apparatuses? And then we start looking at what we have in the kitchen, what we have in the bathroom, and to perform that. But sometimes also you still have many limited resources. That's where technology comes in. Like if we're teaching electric circuits, then I would use FET simulations so that learners can see electrons moving. They can also see all the apparatuses that are required to learn and understand the concept of electricity. So that's where technology came in with the shoestring science.
That is so interesting, because someone may say that technology is not implemented in their schools because of the lack of resources. But you said because of the lack of resources, we can integrate technology to, supplement for what is not there. That is so interesting. And, I just want to know why teachers now? Why did you develop this interest in teachers instead of the learners?
With learners, I would have a limited number of learners in my class. It was great to see them moving from 50 to 100%, of course, but it was also interesting to interact with them to make change. But it was also interesting for me to see other teachers from other schools come to my school, and I also went to different circuits, training teachers on technology. And one of the things that I think sparked my much more interest in training teachers was when in some of these workshops, they said there was one teacher who used to travel with me, and she was like, I have 20 years of experience in teaching. I've attended different workshops, but I've never attended a workshop that dealt with problems that I am facing in a classroom like yours. So all the time when I travel, she would say, I want to go, because I knew that your programs are actually addressing our issues. We are not just there, to learn. Immediately someone attends my workshop, they will be able to implement tomorrow. So I don't train so that someone can implement at a later stage. No, we look at what issues are we having as teachers. After the training, someone must be inspired at a later stage. So training teachers helped me reach many learners than helping learners. And as a result, my supervisor was like, Linford, you have developed this interest much more. Then you can put it into a good use if you came to higher education. And that's how I developed much more interest, and I moved from a basic education to higher education.
That sounds absolutely amazing. If you reach teachers, you reach more learners.
Yes,
that is absolutely amazing. And I just want to take it back to the parents. If you were explaining what is coding and robotics to a parent who's currently driving, or explaining it to a grade 4 learner, what is the basic way to explain exactly what is coding and robotics?
We have traditional games that we play, like Diket, or they call it Diket, or Marabaraba. So we've got different types of those games where instructions are important. So following instructions and also thinking deeply about what you are doing are much more important in those. The elderly people, when some of them do not like our navigators when they go to a place. So they would want to instruct you. They want to give you an instruction of how to get to the shop. You go straight, and then there are 3 houses, and then pass by 3 houses. On the 4th one, turn right. Then when you turn right, you go, and then you will see a beautiful flat house. That one is red. So you pass it just by the gate, turn right, and then you will see the store. That's where we buy spinach.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that process of giving instructions is called coding.
Right.
And then the external output of the code is robotics. So that means I was a robot. They were coding me. So the coding is the process of writing an instruction so that it can be performed outwardly by something else. I know those that are in computer science would always say that something should be a computer. It shouldn't. In education, as long as anything can perform the instruction that's given, that could be regarded as a robot. So coding is the process of writing or making those instructions that can be followed. To show that your code was correct, we'll see when someone reaches the destination where we buy spinach. If you do not reach the destination, it means your code was there was something wrong with the code.
Okay, that is, well, I'll tell you now. No one has explained it as well as you did, and I think you captured my attention when you said, when you highlighted on the indigenous games.
Yes.
To people who are listening who don't know, Diketo is like when you play a game with a round, you put stones in between. You have to toss the stone and pull the stones out. Okay, I don't think I'm doing
so
justice.
Exactly what you are saying. When you explain to someone this is what you need to do, you're coding them.
So
and then when they do it, then that's a robot.
A robot. That's so
robotics.
Interesting. That is so interesting. And then when kids are being taught coding, does it automatically mean they're software developers?
Not necessarily, but they develop the basics of understanding software development as well. So what in education we do usually, so we've got a block-based coding where you code basically with just blocks being snapped together. And then we've got text-based coding, which is the complex one that you see in the movies, and it's behind majority of software development. So what we do in education is to help them develop that competency right from the young age, so that when they choose paths of software development, they already had a background and they develop the skill. There's something that you also mentioned, that it's not just a tool. Majority of people look at coding and robotics as tools that we learn about. And that's where the output for others, output is much more necessary. But in education, if you want to teach coding and robotics authentically, the process must be much more important than the output. So the process are the competencies and skills that we learn when we do coding and robotics. And for me, coding and robotics are the tools through and with which we learn, not those we learn about.
Okay, can you please repeat that?
Coding and robotics are tools through and with which we learn. Not what we learn about.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we learn through coding. We learn with coding. That means when you teach to learners or even elders, when you teach it, learning must be at the center of whatever you're doing, not the output. Because majority of people, we've got different robots displayed here. When you go to competitions like World Robot Olympiad, you will see many children having built many beautiful robots. But when you ask them questions, what inspired you this? Why this? Why that? They cannot answer. So teachers taught them to just build a very nice robot and it becomes a shiny toy, but they haven't learned much. So with us, how we teach it is we focus on the process so that the children and teachers have develop skills that will need for them to thrive in a fast-changing world. And once they developed that skills, they will have the ability to adapt in different situations. So if I teach them this robot and I give them another one, they'll be able to transfer those skills into another situation and also solve real life problems.
Okay. You have said a lot. So I just want to quickly go back. So there are kids that can build a robot, but they don't understand the process thoroughly. So, but you're saying that in your field, you teach them the process so that they can apply it or translate it in other kinds of robots. Am I correct?
Not only robots, but different situations. Because coding and robotics is a life-worthy skill. The skills that we learn are life-worthy. So they must be able to transfer the skills even outside robots. They can use them for different robots, and they can also apply those skills in any other different situation. If there's an issue at home, what do we do?
And can I please ask, if when you're talking about the skills now, someone would be like, oh, they're just using computers. I see a lot of numbers and lines because that's what I see. But according to you, what are these skills that you're talking about?
The skills have been there in existence for a very long time, but haven't been practiced thoroughly. The skills of critical thinking, the skill of digital fluency, computational thinking, collaboration and communication, critical thinking. Those are the skills that we usually focus on. My interest is much more on creative thinking because it allows for creative expression. And once we talk about creative thinking, it means everyone can be creative. So we are just practicing creative thinking and many other skills like computational thinking using a robot. But once someone is able to think critically, they are able to solve any other issue.
Any other issue, right? Yeah. And, I've seen that it started off as being like a subject for grade 10s, grade 11, 12s. But now it seems like it's going even as deep as being developed in primary schools for learners who are in grade 2, grade 1. How do you think it's a good idea and how does it work?
Formally, the only CAPS document curriculum that we have for coding and robotics is up until senior phase. There's none for FET. So FET, it was usually integrated in the CAT subject, but it depended on a school as well. Other schools who really did coding and robotics, they were just doing it because they have the capabilities. But formally, the CAPS document that you can find is from grade R up until grade 9. That's what we are having. Of course, it's a great idea to start it from the foundation. If children learn communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and computational thinking from a young stage, then we wouldn't have any problems. We won't have much problems in higher grades. So it's important to teach children while they are still young. That is why right now, if I take this robot, then I give it to the elder children, they will take long to work around the robot. But if I give it to a foundation phase child, they usually take 30 minutes to an hour. They master it even more than teachers. And I said that and proved it for a very long time. When teachers argued that that's impossible, I asked them to take this robot home. And then when they go to trainings, they need to check how long did it take for them to complete that. It took them others the entire day, but it took an hour for their own children.
That is so interesting. And why do you think that is?
Children are easily teachable.
Okay.
Their mental structures are still, they can be molded into different types of things. That is why children learn language easily. They can move from isiZulu to Tswana and just like that, because they're easily teachable, but the elderly already have their mental structure solid, such that it's very difficult to change, because they have a lot of things that they know. We are saying that you learn new things by building on what you already know. So the elders know a lot already.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example, that when we teach, let's say when we teach curriculum advisors, sometimes they want us to teach them the way they were taught, and the way they were taught didn't work.
Yeah.
So that's because they are already old. But when we teach student teachers, they accept different ways of doing things without expecting us, even children, without expecting us to repeat instructions or to repeat methods that they were taught long before. So it becomes much easier to teach children than to teach the elders.
And so far, because you deal with teachers, what is their confidence of teachers, in approaching and being willing to start integrating coding and robotics? Because what I've come to learn is that coding and robotics is not only for ICT and IT and CAT, it's for all subjects. What has been the response from teachers so far?
Our response has been amazing, and people find it unbelievable that actually people who attend our programs are much more older. When we introduced this for the first time, majority of them were above the age of 50. So we understand that others find it very difficult, but it depends on how you teach it. One of the strategies that we do is when we welcome them, we acknowledge that majority of them do not have a background on coding and robotics at all. So we borrow their young self. We just say to them, give us your childhood self, your young self. We want to borrow that inner child. And then we will give them different activities. Stand up. And then when we stand up, you see, yes, they stand up, sit down, they sit down. Then they start acting as children. Then when we teach them, in our mindset, we have a child.
No.
We want to give them the experience that the child would experience, the fun, the collaboration, the innovation. And then we have a teacher on the side as well. And then we enhance their pedagogy, and which is what many people don't do. What majority of the teacher trainings are based on instructions. Do this, do that, do this. Like the way we were taught Microsoft Office, Word and PowerPoint back then. Click here, a bold, and then insert a table. It's not a good way to teach people that already think they've given up or they don't have enough capabilities. Because how the system was also arranged, it also sort of differentiated teachers. Whenever there's something to do with innovation, coding and robotics, the science teacher should always go. We are trying to demystify that. We have teachers that are in languages, that are in arts, who are teaching Zulu, who are teaching EMS, coming into coding and robotics, seeing how that is relevant into their own teaching and learning. So we use that strategy. Once they get the experience, then we win their trust. When we win their trust, then the output becomes more positive. So majority of them are really coming well, because before the end of our program, in about the fifth sessions, others would have already implemented something in their schools. And majority of our teachers are now really doing amazing work, globally, after they've attended our sessions. We had one teacher who had given up already. I think she was at the age of 55. And she said that she was already giving up on the teaching. She didn't think there was anything else that she could learn, and she was frustrated by the system and how things were done and by alienating them from innovative projects as well. And then after attending the project, she even cried when I interviewed her. So she was part of so there was a student that was studying her master's on this, and she cried and she said, you know what, I thought I couldn't learn anything new
else.
after many years of teaching. So right now you've shown me that there's something else that I can do. You've inherited some sort of a skill that I didn't know that I had. Then she quit teaching and started developing her own coding and robotics club for children in her community.
Oh, that is so interesting. That is so amazing. Real outcomes. Real outcomes. And my next question is going to be, what advice can you give a teacher that has already that feels intimidated by coding and robotics? But I'm going to change it to, how would you advise the people who train teachers for coding and robotics? Because what I'm hearing from you is that the way that you teach, you borrow from the inner child. Is there a way that you can, try and advise the people who are actually running these programs, because you're not the only one, especially for teacher training?
Yes, what I have observed, firstly, is that, coding and robotics has been discussed, I think, for the past 6 years. Since 2020, teachers were trained, and majority of those teachers still say, we were trained, but we still don't know how to do it.
Yes.
What needs to be considered are two things. To train a teacher, you need to be a teacher.
Okay.
And we shouldn't even sugarcoat around that.
Yeah.
So the education system has turned into being a playground for anyone from any other field to think that they can do better even than us.
Yes.
So what they do, majority of the teacher trainings, teachers are trained by computer scientists and engineers, people who have no background in education. Yes, they've got the technical skill, but when you train teacher, you need the technical skill and pedagogy.
Right.
You need the balance between the two. As much as you spend time on the technical part, so you'll find people having developed manuals for the technical part, but where's the manual for the pedagogy? So in order for one to teach teachers, you need to have both balances. You need to have balance of pedagogy. If you're a computer scientist and want to venture into the industry, go study teaching. Simple. And then if you don't have that time, then you really need to find people who are teachers to help you balance that. Without that, I'm telling you, this idea of principals complaining that they trained us, but we still don't know, is still going to be persistent. One other teacher said, a principal actually in Soweto said to me, they trained us about 4 times, and then they came to my school and asked, why are you not implementing coding and robotics? I was like, but you didn't give us training. It's like, we gave you training. And she laughed and said, did you call that training? Even the trainers didn't know what they were talking about. So you haven't trained us. Now, it means everyone needs to start afresh. Lots of millions have already been wasted. So in order to train a teacher, you need to have a teacher, because this is education. Education on its own is fraternity and requires expertise. If you're a computer scientist and venture into education, you need to admit you're not an expert in education. You're an expert in computer science. Just like I may have taught physics, but I'm not an expert. Go ESCOM. I can't go to ESCOM and say, start doing 1, 2, 3, even if I have a bit of knowledge around that. So we need to start admitting that when you don't know, you don't know. And then we bring people who know. So I would advise people to really invest a lot in bringing education experts on the trainings, and for education experts as well, not to just digest the things that they were told by engineers and things like that. They really need to process it first before they take to the teachers, because I noticed that they would be trained by engineers, they would be trained by lawyers. After that, they take the same way they were trained to the teachers, and it doesn't work. That's why teachers can see that this curriculum advisor or education specialist doesn't know.
What they're doing.
Yes, because I'm friends with majority of them, and teachers and principal. They would call me, they're like, yo,
this is not going to work.
Even the curriculum specialist who is supposed to be responsible for training, to train teachers, does not know. That's the problem, because they were trained by someone who does not know as well.
That is so insightful. In fact, I've been thinking about this, that, even within the ICT EdTech innovation, right, there's a lot of people from other industries coming in and giving us, solutions for the problems, but they don't even involve teachers in the making of, the softwares that they develop. They don't
Yes.
they don't engage. Just like we have the CAPS in there, we have the ATP, but have you sat down to actually ask the teacher, what is the problem that you're facing, and would you actually need this tool as a solution? So I have been afraid to voice it out because, people from other professions will think that we are undermining them. But it's like, it looks like we have to be so apologetic because everyone has looked down on education.
See, the issue that you're experiencing is the issue that should be addressed. You're a teacher, you're an expert. When someone comes, they can come as consultant. Majority of teachers, I think we were made to think that teaching is not really a valuable career.
Absolutely.
As compared to someone. So we're still looking up to a computer scientist. When someone says, I'm a computer scientist, I've done computational thinking, whatsoever, you just have to take everything that they say.
Yeah.
We need to start claiming our territory and also exercising our expertise. What you're saying about some software being developed without consultation with teachers, we can see, because immediately people heard that coding and robotics was coming to the system, they started developing coding and robotics kits. Those kits, when you look at them, you can see that there was no really deep thought about education when it was developed. It was developed just to make money. It's many of them, and I keep on having arguments with them. At some point we were talking about this free coding platform called Scratch, and they said to me that this is just very easy. We shouldn't be teaching learners that. I asked why, and then one of the questions that I always ask: for what purpose? If you're saying that using Scratch is not real coding, for what purpose are we talking about? We teach coding and robotics for self-expression.
Right.
That is why I call block-based creative coding, okay? So that we can open multiple opportunities for people to develop as creative thinkers and as innovators as well. So we always have that clash between what those who are in the industry expect us to do. But this is a fraternity. We exercise our expertise. We consult you. You are a consultant. You make views. If we reject them, we reject them. You can claim your space in your own space.
Yes.
And I would encourage teachers to start claiming that. If teachers do that, you will see majority of the coding and robotics workshops and ICT in education workshops that are taking place, they will no longer take place because teachers would say, but this was wrong. Why are you being paid such kinds of money? Schools are purchasing robots that are not educationally sound.
That is so true.
As we speak.
Yes.
You see, there are certain ways that you really need to think about before you purchase the tool. I went to another school and I told them that you bought this one for 3,500 and 6,000. You think because they were using it in a workshop and it took you 3 days to master it, go take it to your kids. Those kids will do it in an hour. And then after that, what are you going to teach them? Because you bought it because you wanted to complete the curriculum. The curriculum is going to last for a year, but these kids did it within an hour. Then what does that mean? It means when we purchase coding and robotics tools, we need to purchase the tools that can open multiple pathways to learning. So after having built this as a car, then what else can we build using the tools as well? It cannot be just a tool where you develop a person dancing. After dancing, so what? Then the children are going to break it up, and trying to see what else can I do. And it was not designed to be broken. So some of these tools that we are using, they were designed to be broken. So one can build different projects, and bring about different solutions using just that one robot.
So interesting. I mean, I think then I would have to ask you, do you think that coding and robotics one day will be a compulsory subject for all our learners? And why would that be?
Initially, it was supposed to be compulsory. I think the new minister sort of turned things around a little bit. Was it late last year? I think it should be. And I think it will be as well. Because at the end of the day, we really need our children to be able to develop computational thinking skills, to develop digital fluency, and also participate in a lot of international initiatives and projects that help children not to be consumers of technology but creators with and through technology.
Pardon me for asking, but can you explain what exactly is computational skills?
Okay, so computational thinking, also it depends on how one explain it, but some of the popular way of explaining it are some of the skills that one learn when they are processing information. For example, it includes decomposition. So decomposition is when you decompose. Now you've got this big problem and you want to solve it out. In order for us to solve it, what do we need to do? We need to decompose it and take it bit by bit, part by part, and things like that. Then it also includes an algorithm. Algorithm is the set of instructions that are given for something to perform. When we are as I was explaining, coding is the process. And then if I were to give you my code, I'm giving you an algorithm. And algorithmic thinking is about having that ability to develop those sets of instructions. It also includes recognitions of pattern as well. It includes sequencing. So there's a number of them. For others, it even includes critical thinking as well. It includes other skills.
No, that's beautiful, right? And do you think that if we continue treating, for schools that treat coding and robotics as extracurricular activity, do you think they are limiting their learner success?
I would like to believe they're actually expanding it. There are affordances of having a program as extracurricular. When you have it as a curriculum, majority of our schools are bound within the boundaries of the curriculum. So we are limited within what's there in the curriculum. When you develop it as an extracurricular, you are giving children opportunities to express themselves the best way they know. That is why when you follow the curriculum, you are going to end up having children that are developing almost similar external outputs or similar projects. But when it's an extracurricular activity, you will see variety. It means a child who's not good academically but can be able to draw, it will be easy for that child to create something in the robot and incorporating their skills of drawing to express their outward inner being. And then, to express their inward outwardly, if I could put it that way. So, a child who is good in poetry is going to use coding and robotics and make poems.
Okay.
We have student teachers who did that.
Okay.
We have our teachers are always from different disciplines. So we have that. We are not just saying it because we are thinking we are researchers. We've researched, we've got output, we've got observations. I also post about them, by the way, on my social media platforms as well, to show that this is possible. And then a child who is thinking about, at home I have a parent who does not have a hand. How can I use this robot to develop something that could help my parents as well? You see, but if we just follow the curriculum the way it is, it has boundaries, it has assessments, expectation, and someone else is telling you not to do this but do that. But as an extracurricular activity, you have autonomy to do whatever you want to do.
And would you say that it's a skill that's preparing our learners for jobs that don't yet exist?
Oh yes, definitely. As I said, majority of our teachers always say, I didn't know that I could be this creative. I met someone, a teacher in the Eastern Cape in January when we went for certain programs on expanding opportunities for young girls to enter into STEAM. And he came, I saw a certain company there, and then he came to me, he's like, you don't remember me, but I remember you. Thank you so much for actually giving me that knowledge. You say this is my own company. Immediately after you taught us, I went to my school, I tried it in my school, and then while I was training, I realized that I have a lot. Then I went out of the school and opened my own company. Now I'm the one who's training teachers in majority and learners in majority of the communities in the Eastern Cape, and I'm even branching into other African countries. You see, so imagine if an elderly person says that you've created an opportunity for them to come out of the box. Imagine how learners from grade R until when they reach grade 11.
Yeah, I
They would
get the
be-
picture.
yeah.
I get the picture. And, South Africa, remains deeply unequal, as you're saying that there's a school that has bought, this kit which cannot expand. Do you think that coding and robotics will create, expand on the inequality of schools, others having kids, others without kids, Do you think it's going to affect that?
A little bit, yes. So unlike the popular opinions that we get that this and that, we don't have resources and things, it depends on how teachers are trained. I still get to that. If we train teachers to think that coding and robotics need exclusive tools, then yes. But if we train them that we actually did coding and robotics way before, our parents did it way before we were born, then they would start tapping into the unplugged coding that does not require expensive resources. Majority of our children in the rural area, even though some people would say our kids don't have gadgets, I really don't believe that. Those are people that are not in the ground, in the education system. They would make such scary claims. Majority of our teachers our learners in the rural areas have cell phones.
They do, yeah.
Those kids that are in the schools are our children. Are we saying our children don't have?
They do actually.
They have that. It's just that we don't teach them how to use what they have educationally. So coding and robotics can still be taught. As we speak, in my cell phone, we have a software. I can show it to you afterwards. It's okay. Called Octo Studio. It's another version of Scratch, but you can teach coding and robotics on Octo Studio on your cell phone without internet. They just need to install, and then they can develop stories, games, simulations, and whatever kinds of projects that they want to create and share them with families.
Oh, that is so interesting. That is absolutely eye-opening. And I think we have a group of teachers that always want to rely on the fact that, there's problems, there's challenges, and they will always be there. But I think, the way you're explaining coding and robotics in its nature, you're saying that we can all be problem solvers if we dedicate ourselves to that. And so far, what role can the government and the universities, private companies and NGOs, what role can they play in ensuring that, coding is effectively delivered in schools for learners?
Firstly, let me start with universities because I'm in a university.
Yeah.
Their faculties of education or schools of education should now start claiming their expertise in relation to coding and robotics. It's unfair to have coding and robotics, having teachers being trained by the faculty of engineering, by the faculty of computer science. It's really unfair without any educational expertise. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. As consultants, yes. But currently in many universities, it's taken the lead. I think in the country, if not mistaken, at UJ, we are the only ones that have such in the initial teacher training and also with in-service teachers as well.
So in the course of teachers, as they're doing their B.Ed undergrad?
Yes, this week I actually come from work. This week our student teachers are busy. This is their coding and robotics week. Our final year students do that. They start with it actually in their first year. We do it in a second, and then we do a bit in the third year. Then they have a full course that appears on their academic record in their final year.
How is this not trending? This is my first time hearing about this. It is absolutely interesting. How is it? I'm blown away to hear that you have integrated this coding, and it's no longer starting once the teacher's practicing, but you're integrating it within the faculty of education to claim that space. That is amazing.
Yes, so we have that, and then we, if not mistaken, because I have a student who just completed her master's, and she was looking for programs in education that also train teachers from the faculties of education. If not mistaken, I think we might be, unless it's still new, I cannot think of any institution that does it, unless it's an institution that was trained by us, like Walter Sisulu University as well. So the faculties of education need to start tapping into that space to ensure that every teacher, when they leave university, they have coding and robotics training, so that we do not overload the basic department of education.
True.
I mean, right now the department is using a lot of money. What are universities doing? The universities should be training teachers. As we speak, there are many schools that say that they don't have coding and robotics teachers. So there are thousands of graduates every year. Why can't those graduates graduate having coding and robotics, so that the department doesn't have to waste a lot of money on uplifting teachers as well? And then I would also advise the basic department of education to stop relying on external expertise only. They need to bring the internal expertise, people that are in education, to process whatever the external ones bring. And then it's good if we worked together, than someone taking the lead and thinking that they know better than education experts. So they need to have education experts taking the lead as well. So, and I would also, advise the basic department of education, to liaise with the institutions of higher learning, so that whatever that they are planning, we at the university are aware of and can also take part into that. The NGOs are really wonderful platforms to uplift, because they don't have many boundaries. They should start coding and robotics clubs in their communities, where children can come. We have a teacher. She's no longer a teacher, a retired principal called Puti Raopala. Every weekend, the children go to her house to learn basic coding and robotics. Even, I think, on the 12th? No, not the 12th. I think in July, they are going to have Coding for Mandela club in her house, in collaboration with other local teachers as well, and which is really lovely.
You're bringing up these things, and I hope that people who are needed do watch this episode and follow, as you are saying, because there's so many loopholes, as you're saying, so many resources being put out, but they are not producing any outcomes. But to only just, we just need to go back to the drawing board and see what we are going wrong. And I just hope that it's not because I think it's all about money. That's when things go wrong. It's all about money. The intentions probably are there, but because everyone is looking for money, then things end up, getting mixed. To just move on, I just want to, I know that you're so passionate, even how you speak about coding and robotics. I just would like to find out that what excites you, excites you about where coding and robotics is heading.
You see, I think with me, when I see people that I train going out there and doing amazing work globally and locally, that's very exciting for me. I'm also looking forward to having many children, especially in the impoverished villages, entering into the World Robot Olympiad, and also bringing lots of innovative ways to solve our problems through coding and robotics as well. I've seen it happen as well. I've seen it in Kenya, in the rural areas as well. I know that some people in Nigeria are doing the same, and some of the teachers that we have trained are also doing great work in their villages. I also go visit them. So that is what is really exciting for me, and I think gives me a good sleep.
To know that it's happening, right? And, I think I want to ask you questions from an audience perspective, right? If you have a parent or an educator say that, I think, and you've also answered these questions, if they say that my school does not have robotics kids, then what should I do?
Firstly, let's tap into our old games and play them intentionally. Not just as we are just playing. No, intentionally. We need to play them intentionally for our children to develop those skills. Let's tap into unplugged coding. Also, let's start using the resources that we are having to make it work and build a profile. Because it's easy to say, I don't have resources, and then you are just chilling. Some of the teachers who said to me, I can't integrate this because I don't have resources and things like that. And I asked, where are you based? They said, I'm in this area. Then I called another person. I said, you're in the area, but you're doing the work. Another person in your neighboring school is not doing the work because he says he's in this community. Then I would make them meet together and to help each other conceptualize this. But also purchase, spend some money, even the little, by purchasing, some of the robotics kits that are going to last longer instead of purchasing these ones that can easily break. Purchase them and then develop a profile. You see, if you have developed a digital profile, it's easy to say to the local business people and other communities to say, guys, I am doing this. Currently, we have only one grade participating in this because we lack resources. Can you please add more? It's easy for someone to add more into something that exists than to give someone who does not do anything, because it will lead to corruption as well. So rather help someone who's already doing something, show your willingness and commitment into enhancing learners' skills for a fast-changing world, and then other people will just come and support you as time progresses.
One of the things that I thought was that in order to do coding and robotics, you have to be good at mathematics. I don't know, there's that stigma, or I think it has been, as you said earlier, that, teachers have been separated, to say this one is for the humanities, this one is for the maths, that one's for the biology. I always thought that you have to be good in mathematics, or the learner has to be good in mathematics to learn this coding and robotics. Can you debunk that myth?
We joined the teaching profession having a set of hidden curriculum in it. Whenever there's innovation, maths and science people should go. Whenever there's science expo, maths and science people go. Whenever there's this, go. As a result, majority of the teachers in other streams thought that there's no room for innovation. So already we have accepted that we are not good enough. And that's a wrong way of viewing coding and robotics. What we did as well, we encouraged teachers to join our short learning program, and teachers from different fields. And that is why we even said this is not exclusive to those that are in science and mathematics and things like that. And we've seen great. I mean, one of our groups that came out was a teacher. So I had two teachers. UJ is associated with UJ Academy. There's a high school. So two teachers from the high school they were never involved in any innovative projects before, but they completed our short learning program. And then one is teaching Sesotho, the other one is teaching Setswana, and then that's Mokgeti and Bongi. When they got to the school, I asked the principal, let these people lead coding and robotics. Right. And it was back and forth because it was really difficult to bridge that gap, because the principal wanted an IT person to take the lead. Right. Then I said, no, there is something that we taught them that you won't get from an IT person. Then they let the teachers run that program. That in that year, their learners, their grade 8 and 9 learners, became number 1 in the Gauteng schools or specialization in the ICT category in that competition. When other schools brought beautiful cars coming that were developed with, those kids just had screen, a simple robot, and things like that. There was a way that we trained these teachers, and we said, let these learners take charge. Then here are multiple disciplines that were around. I said, ask these learners, who is good in narration?
Right.
Then this person is going to interpret the work that you are doing through the voice. Who's good at writing stories? They wrote stories. Who can convert the story into isiZulu and Sotho? They did that. They developed a project. I think that project was about solving bullying at school. Then they brought that together. Then so the one who wrote the script will give it to someone who is good at coding. Then they coded together, and then someone narrated, and then a certain group built the robot. When they went to present at that competition, they had different this one said, this is what we did, this is what we were thinking around it, and this is what we wanted to solve. This one, after that, I took this and then I converted it into a code, and this is what happened. And then this one, it went, the story behind and how they were able to explain different levels, I think is what made them win, because they were able to explain how they solved the problem, unlike those ones who brought beautiful cars. But they just had an abundance of exclusive resources, but they didn't use it properly to enhance their skills. So it's not true that you have to be good in math, or you have to go. Everyone has capabilities of doing something, of being innovative, and of being creative. The question is, how do we tap into your creative self? Firstly, what you do must be relatable to you. When you love it, you're going to do it.
Right.
So whatever project that you develop must be relatable to you. You must be meaningful to you, because as Mitch Resnick say, if you develop a project that is meaningful. So Mitch Resnick is my mentor, by the way, in Coding and Robotics from MIT. So he would say, what if you develop something that is meaningful, you develop passion, you last longer with resilience, you are able to experiment, try out new things in order to make whatever that you're making work. And that is what we need.
Oh, that is very, very amazing. And, I just want to quickly conclude because of the time, but how do parents now support their kids at home, when they're saying my child comes in and says, I'm doing coding and robotics? Is there a way also that parents can tap into coding and robotics and provide more support? What are the things that are there for them?
We sometimes have free online sessions for an hour, where we encourage parents to join their children to join, and then we learn to code together. Firstly, do that. You don't have to be a teacher. Sometimes, if we have such kinds of programs, join so that you can learn what your children is learning. One of the parents who had a child who is differently abled said after attending one of the sessions, I've been depriving my child of a cell phone because I would think he'd be exposed to content that is not good. But now, because I know how a cell phone can be used, I'll be comfortable with giving him and supporting him with the cell phone. So that's something that we can do. But also visit the schools. When they say on Wednesday is a coding and robotics whatsoever, having parents there, it's more meaningful, because some of these parents have good networks that can support the schools to such an extent that the school can expand even much more. And use your resources properly. I mean, we are going out, we buy alcohol every weekend, we buy takeaways, cut on takeaways and buy the robot.
At home. That is so interesting. And so, what I'm learning from this is it's all about the input. It's all about the intention, right?
Yes.
You have an intention. Coding and robotics, especially coding, it's the intention that you have. If you have a problem, can you now translate it to a code that can be able to create a robot that can work, to express your creativity?
Yes.
I think that is the most basic way that I have understood what you have said today. And it has made me believe that, it's not only for this class of people that are good in mathematics, physics, ICT, or the IT, but it is just for everyone. You've been giving a lot of advice in the middle of your explanations. But so far, are there any projects, research, or publications that you are involved in that you would like people to know about, to send love their way or to get involved,
Yes, our Coding and Robotics project is a research project at the same time. So we try things out here, and then we test, and then we research at the same time as well. But also my PhD study is there publicly. It would be good, because when I was writing it for people that do not have background in coding and robotics. The language is easy. Go read it out and see. So I also have a book chapter that we wrote, and there's also many of research that is being conducted in our institution of higher learning as well. This is forward, and then this is turn. You can turn as many times as, and this is backward, and then this is just play. Okay, right. So you need to count how this is to count. This is 1, 2, okay, and then you go.
Okay, so this is the basic activity that a beginner would have in the classroom.
Yes.
So I have to count, of course, the blocks, the instructions that I have to give to the
to the robot.
To the robot and say that you have to move 2 spaces and then turn left.
Yes.
Okay.
And then go forward as well. So this would be your forward.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I have to take it this way.
Yes. And it must score.
Okay. So 1, 2. And then 1, 2. And
this
then
is okay.
1, 2. So I've taken it.
Okay.
And then
go. Yeah. Press. Yeah.
then,
try.
One, 2. And then.
It's because you turned here.
Oh, I must not. Okay.
Yeah, you turned twice.
Okay.
Yeah. It's what I was missing and what he was explaining.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
So now
So you turn and then you go forward again.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's 1, 2, and then
turn.
This is the turn,
once,
right?
Yes. Once. And then go forward again with
and
the
then
blue one. Yeah.
Forward. Twice. Once.
Try.
Twice.
Let's try.
Okay. Let's try. So the sounds he's making, is he counting the number of movements?
There you go.
Where is it going?
You do it.
Okay, so I guess that my mistake would be like the type of instructions. I must be very specific.
Yes. But maybe it's also because, let it start afresh.
Okay.
Maybe it still had try it again.
Okay. So now, can you please guide me? I have to say 1, 2.
Yes.
And
then 10.
10 this way, right?
Yes.
And
then go forward again with this.
1, 2.
Okay. 10. Then 1, 2 again.
Okay. I'm gonna say 1, 2, 10, and 1, 2.
Try it. Okay.
1, and I think it would have
almost
been 2.
Yes.
Almost.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Try it again. I just want to do this. Yeah. Try it again. Let's start it here.
Okay.
And make sure.
So it's 1, 2, 1, and 1, 2.
Yes.
One, 2. Finally.
Then it needs to come this side.
Then we have to turn it around. So, I guess you're saying with this that, coding and robotics is not all about computers.
Yes.
This is like basic instruction. And I think it can also go back to, in English, because I'm an English teacher.
Yes.
We have what we call instructions, summary writing. Summary writing is all about picking a whole thing and giving instructions.
Yes.
So I see how this would make it into, being integrated into an English subject.
Yes.
As incorporating coding, giving instructions. And if you write those instructions, they're supposed to be very specific to what you give.
Yes.
It. Okay.
And then the code of turning here, you need to write it using this.
Okay. So
yes.
I'm going to say 1. And then, okay, can I put 1, 2, right? And then
you can do that to help learners. Yes.
And then
maybe put it here together. So that's going to be 1, 2, and then 10.
And then the turn, like the arrow is facing which way?
Try with different ones here. And then you can also flip it.
Okay, I was looking. I think I was looking for the flip. So it's moving from here. Okay. How do I do it? This one is this way. I need one that's facing. Let me see. I think this is actually fun for Elena. Trying to find the errors. So if I'm coming from this way, does it mean that if the robot is coming from this way, I can't face it this way? Ne? This is incorrect.
Yeah, that goes towards that direction.
Okay, I think this is the one I've been looking for. Okay. So I can turn this way.
Yes, right.
And then
yeah.
And then I would have to now say 1 and 2. And then now,
what else to come here?
To come there, I have to turn again. How do I turn? So it's a must that I find the correct arrow, right?
Yes, it must be correct.
So I'm coming from over here. I'm moving over here.
Yes.
So if I can't.
You can put it here. Yeah.
right this way.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna take it to
There you
1
go.
and 2. Will it be 3?
Yes.
3. And then this is my stop. Right.
Yeah. Then
okay.
do it here. Let's see.
All right.
Now, when you look at it.
Okay, that is 1, 2, and then
10.
10.
And then forward. Forward with the blue
Can
one.
I start again? How do I cancel everything?
This one. The yellow one, yeah.
So I'm starting off with
1,
2, and then
10.
Forward before turning.
Just 10.
10.
And then forward.
1, 2.
10.
And then 1, 2, 3.
Okay, let's see.
Hopefully.
You got it. You see?
Thank you so much.
Now,
yeah.
This is your algorithm.
My algorithm.
This is called your algorithm.
Right.
So this set of instructions is your algorithm, and this is the external output of your algorithm is the robot. Okay, and this robot does not have. So you can actually do it with children. You know those games.
Yeah.
So we 1, 2,
yeah,
and then
they turn.
and they, you see,
Right.
and then.
Right.
You know.
That is so interesting.
Yes.
Before we close, is there anything else that you would like?
Yes. Now, to the Department of Basic Education.
Right.
When you advertise those promotional posts, especially the district, please include coding and robotics specialist. This thing, because since past 5 years, I've been looking. I don't find them. I see them posting, sharing the posts. And we are struggling with coding and robotics experts. So please include that you want someone who specialized in coding and robotics as well, because we have many of them who completed programs who are doing great at their schools. It's many teachers. Let them be the ones occupying those posts. And this for the schools as well. When you hire a teacher, also specify this person should have coding and robotics at least so that they can get started in your school.
Dr. Molaodi, I think the teachers will get angry at you for that one, to say you're closing gates for us. You want to block.
Not closing, expanding. I mean, if we have 5 posts and then at least 2 are saying
coding
this should
robotics.
have someone who has a background on coding and robotics. I mean, it's going to make change.
And for that post, how does then the school ensure that this person really has the expertise? After your program, do teachers get certifications to prove?
Yes.
Okay. So the certifications, are they? I don't want to say CETA accredited or something like that, but
yes. Our certificate is 20 credit at NQF level 8.
Okay.
Yes, for teachers. And our student teachers, it appears on the academic record. And then for the ones who came before we introduced this one for teachers, they have a Scratch Coding Club certificate.
What a time to be a student teacher at the University of Johannesburg. What a time. This is so interesting. And I think it is really, really going to open many opportunities for people who are intentional about their teaching. Okay. Is there any other last thing that you would like to say?
Thank you very much. And I just want to say you're doing great, because this is the first podcast in that focus on education that I've seen. I've followed it up, and I think you are really going bigger on this one. And I'm asking all the teachers out there to support your work, follow and share.
Thank you. You're the first guest to say that. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, Dr. Molaodi. This conversation has reminded us that coding and robotics isn't simply about teaching learners to program computers, but it is developing curiosity, solving problems, collaboration, and critical thinking. Most importantly, it is about preparing young people to thrive in an ever-changing world. To everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Michelle Musi, and I'm the host of the Teachers Table with Education's Voices Meets. Thank you.